Deaddrop gameplay is available and viewable to the public. If you're not aware, the Deaddrop game is basically the Dr. Disrespect game from the Midnight Society game studio. We'll be taking a look at some of the gameplay. Paul's Gaming, he's actually a member of our community. He's been hanging out for a really long time. You probably hear me debate with him all the time. He actually has a video that's done very well on YouTube. It's like over 20,000 views or something like that. We're going to be looking at the gameplay and breaking it down. If you like my streams and my talk shows, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell button. The spelling of Deaddrop is a little different too. It's not two words. It's not two words smacked together. It's literally Deaddrop with just one D in the middle. And I'm going to bring everybody over from our PlayStation 5 price increase stream. We talked about that this morning, the possibility of a PS5 price hike. But we want to look at Deaddrop gameplay and what we think of the game. Apparently, allegedly, Dr. Disrespect has been quoted as saying today during, I think, one of his streams that this game will be out in 2023. I had made my own predictions that this game would not be on a 5 or 6 year development cycle, that a battle royale would have a much shorter window of development because the scope of the project is a lot more contained. And so we're going to be taking a look at this. Now, keep in mind, again, this is very early footage. The FPS counter in the corner apparently kind of goes a little wild. I will put myself slightly up so you guys can see that underneath me, just in case they want to make sure that's on screen for the version that he's playing. And let's take a look here. Apparently the scope of this game is that you go up and up and up and up. I actually think the name is really creative, even if the spelling is, like, a little funky. Now, already I'm noticing the frame rate's just kind of all over the place, which makes sense in an early build. You know, it's not been optimized. It's going to be rough. In my mind, the first thing I'm going to say is if you're going for a competitive environment, I think a lot of the lighting and a lot of the particle effects, and you can even see off to the left here, so over here by this guy falling here, there's like a dust or like a smoke thing coming through, and you got a lot of dark areas and a lot of shadows. I'm not a competitive guy, but I feel like competitive players are going to find those things to be annoying. I could be 100% wrong. I could be totally firing from the hip here and not representing competitive players, but I feel like competitive players don't like when you do all of the lighting, all of the high graphical fidelity. It makes it difficult to see. It makes it difficult to find and zero in on targets. Another thing we're noticing now is some weather effects. I've noticed some rain coming down. This, again, strikes me as an odd decision. They may just really be trying to impress people. Didn't top competitive players turn graphics way down so the visuals are simpler and frame rate is higher? Yes, typically that is true. So I think the art design here is good. I think the game looks good, but I wonder, from a design perspective, are those fundamentals or those foundational things that competitive players are going to be looking for? Yeah, I turned up game sound for you guys a little bit. I just want you to track with me here. Think through all the visuals they're having to render right now. You have lighting, you have texture on that metal, you have rain, you have all the different particles in front of you. I wonder about that decision. I don't know. People criticize sometimes like Call of Duty and other games for being bland, everything looking muddy and kind of like rolling together. This game certainly stands out in comparison. It feels like, oh wow, I can see everything. Everything's very distinct. Everything's very sharp. But is that going to be good for optimization of a game where you can't have drop frames and screen tearing and stuff? Yeah, the FOV is also set very, very low. There's something weird with the recoil. Watch the third shot. Watch the third shot. You see that? There's something weird with the recoil here. You guys are saying it looks like there's no weight to the shots. I think it's a recoil thing. So muzzle. See, muzzle flare. And then the gun, it's almost like the gun doesn't reset the same way. Yeah, there's something about the recoil. Because of the recoil going to the side instead of more up, it makes the gun feel less weighty, less punchy. There's no weight to the shooting. Yeah, I think it might be related to the recoil. I think the gun sound is good. Muzzle flare looks good. I think the gun sound is fine. It might be a little too, I wonder if the sound is a little too, it might be at the wrong octave. It sounds almost like it sounds like a 22. Like it sounds really weak. It doesn't sound like you want it to sound more like a pow, pow, instead of a puh, puh, if that makes sense. There's too much muzzle flash, you think? Now, I don't want to be nitpicky, okay? But the water coming off here, if you can't make it look good, don't do it. Right? Get rid of this. I don't, number one, I don't think it's necessary unless you can make it look a lot better than that. Yeah, the fire seems pretty prefab as well. This fire seems pretty prefab, not actually causing any kind of a flicker on the surrounding. Yeah, guys, this is like a super early alpha. This is like their first playable thing that they're letting people see. So this is very early. So I'm not going to be overly critical. I think they have... I will say out of the gate, I think Dr. Disrespect's idea is good. It's very creative. I think it's a great idea. I think the concept could become very popular. They are making design decisions in this footage that I question. Because I think optimization and performance is so important in a game like this. I think a lot of the lighting and the weather effects, rain effects, environmental effects, fog, dust, rain, etc. I think that kind of stuff gets long in the tooth if it creates performance issues in their game. There's also lots of shadows and lots of dark areas where you can't frickin' see anything. So, what's the game concept? You're working your way up through a building as a battle royale. I actually think the name Deaddrop is really cool, even if they spell it a little funky. It's probably easier to get copyrights and trademarks for Deaddrop with one D as one word because it's a brand new thing. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It'll be good for, potentially good for SEO and search and relevancy because it'll be its own thing. You're not going to land in some other funnel. Everything Deaddrop will be under that spelling. So, we'll see. Guys, do me a favor and hit the like button. We need 15 more likes. We're off to a great start. Make sure you're on live chat and smashing the like button. For those that don't know, Reforge Gaming is a talk show. Typically, I'm in this scene just talking games. We're breaking down this gameplay. One of our community members uploaded it. Paul's Gaming did this. And I love Doc. I'm not a fan of the NFT thing, but I love Doc. I love what he brings to the content creator space. I think this game could be good. Apparently, he's being quoted as saying it's coming out in 2023. Yeah, Paul's giving us a top down on the fire. He's like standing on the barrel looking down. Yeah, it's a prefab animation. It's a thin sprite. It's just a flat sprite. It's not real. It's not like a real three-dimensional fire. So there is falling damage. Oh, that was it. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Yeah, he dead dropped. He dead dropped. I made a joke about they named the game after Timmy Tenders. Because you want to talk about a dead drop. So you're going to notice some of the stuff I pointed out. Right now, this feels like a first-person campaign shooter like Dead Space or something. Well, not that Dead Space is first-person, but this has a Dead Space vibe. Like, do you see how many shadows, how many layers of lighting? There's, like, steam coming from the ceiling. There's all this layered lighting. I'm not trying to say they shouldn't do this. I just really wonder what competitive players are going to think about this. Are you going to be able to be in the dark and no one can see you, and you just, you start shooting somebody from the cover of a corner that is nothing but black? Doc lost his mind with Modern Warfare 2019 in Dark Corners. This is a preview build, full game. This is not the full game, no. If you're just tuning in, we're taking a look at Deaddrop gameplay. We will provide a link to Paul's channel. I may have failed. I need to update and do that. We will have that in the description. I will do that right now. We will have a link to the video that we're using. Paul is in all of the early, what do you call it, or pre-alpha or whatever it's called. Here we go. Let me get the link. All right, there we go. And let me add it to the description. Paul's Gaming Live. All right, a link to his channel and the video are in the description now. Somebody says Doc's logo's in the distance here somewhere. In the second area, you can see Doc's logo. There's a building with his logo. Okay. Yeah, this is 6 months of development. I don't see anything worrying about, like, quality. Like, I expect it to kind of look like this, early stages. I'm concerned from like an art direction decision. Okay, Paul's got a video for me of just the recoil of this gun. We'll look at that in a second. Yes, this has been described as an extraction game. So what we might be seeing when he goes up to that door and that door is locked, there could be things in the area. There could be enemies you have to beat. There could be mechanics you have to figure out. I don't know. There could be any number of things that if you want to take that elevator up further, you have to figure it out. You have to get loot. You have to give a key of some sort. So it is an extraction game. You are trying to go up higher through the building. So this is the hideout, says Paul. Sorry, all the rain. I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I don't understand the reason they put this out. Looks miles off from Elise and pretty boring. Well, let me engage with what you're saying. First and foremost, I think what they're doing is they're showing people they actually have a game. Right? They're showing people they actually have a game. Like, that's the point, isn't it? This has nothing to do with the public. This has nothing to do with the public. This has to do with proving to investors or fence sitters that they actually have a game. So, if you think of it from that perspective, you have to understand that, like, they can get to a better place. Hang on. They can get to a better place to wow the audience members. Proof of concept? Yeah, essentially. Why did Windows Media Player do that? Like, why would Windows Media Player, like, just making sure it's you and make me put my pin in? I don't understand that. Has Windows Media Player ever done that to you guys? Proof of concept. Would you invest in the game? I think I have concerns about the game and about, you know, investing in it or whatever, because I think my biggest concern with it is that it'll be flash in the pan. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's like everybody will be really excited, everybody will jump in, everybody will be streaming it, it'll be really, really popular, but I just think it'll fizzle out after that. All right, so Paul's showing us here recoil pattern on the gun. Yeah, there's something flat about... I can't quite... Okay, I think I know what it is. Okay, so I think what's happening is I think the muzzle flare, the recoil, and the sound is not synced up as good as it should be. It feels like they just sort of play a generic muzzle flash animation, and that it doesn't seem synced up with the sound and the recoil. They seem disconnected. It's almost like the muzzle flare is just up front spinning and just kind of going crazy. And I think that's one of the reasons why the gun doesn't feel very weighty. I mean, obviously it's not leaving bullet holes and it's not doing anything to the wall yet, but just watch and see if you see what I'm talking about. Recoil isn't random either, goes left to a right pattern. Recoil lift seems too linear in comparison to the horizontal kick. Yeah, there's something about it that makes the recoil and the punch of the gun seem flat. Yeah. Yeah, it's lacking some punch, which that's not a huge concern. That's something that they can easily tweak and polish. Like, that doesn't worry me in the least. I would think that's something that they can work on with time. If you guys are just tuning in, I don't know why the cap card doesn't like when we go full screen sometimes. If you're just tuning in, we're checking out the Deaddrop gameplay. Paul's Gaming Live is a YouTube channel that he actually hangs out here. His video is really doing numbers. And so we're checking it out. Kind of analyzing it, breaking it down, giving our thoughts. We could do a poll. Paul's a streamer too. I think he just does uploads periodically. Alright. Deaddrop gameplay. How would you rate it? I'm going to put Deaddrop gameplay This is like pre-alpha, isn't it? Let's just keep in mind this is a pre-alpha. Like, I'm not trying to sway you, but guys, keep in mind. This thing is in its early stages. What are the games banned on purple or Doc doesn't allow it on purple? I don't think he would ban it from purple. Okay, so Paul's showing me his like to dislike ratio. He says, I know the game is not for the public, but it's got 122 likes and 432 dislikes. So it's definitely not doing well with the like to dislike ratio. How does it actually look to you? I mean, we get a downgrade with YouTube. I would give it, the fact you guys are all giving it, most of you are giving it a C. So right now, make sure and cast your vote in the poll. There's 320 people here. Vote in the poll at the top of the chat. Deaddrop gameplay, how would you rate it? A, B, C, or D? I want to see what you guys think. It's landing mostly in the C range, which if I'm one of the developers, I would actually say that's good. If the general public is giving this thing a, an average rating, a C, I would say that's a pretty good start since the game's not out yet. This is pre-alpha footage. I think I would also give it a C. I would say, listen, I don't see anything yet to really wow me. You're kind of proving that you have a game. You guys are proving that you're building something, either to would-be investors or fence sitters that are kind of like, hey, what do you guys got over there? Do you have anything? Is this a video or are you playing on a build? This is not me playing. It's a video. There's a link below to the guy's video who uploaded it. Paul's Gaming Live. I believe is the name of the channel, the official name of the channel. He uploaded the footage and it's actually doing very, very well. And so we want to check it out. Nothing stands out. Nothing looks terrible. It looks like a game. It's a C for me. I actually think it getting a C is probably something that they would be happy with. I don't think they're looking to wow anybody right now. I think they're looking to prove to people, hey, we have a game. We're building it. Here's the proof. Does that make sense? I think that's all that matters to them. This video is a better view of the graphics. Just mute it, though. Why would I need to mute this? Deaddrop with the Terminator? What did you added the... What did you do to this video? You just added the Terminator music? Oh, T2 theme, you added music. All right, hang on a second. It's a better view of the graphics. Why are the graphics going to be different? Let's finish watching this one, and then we'll check out his video with the music. Modern Warfare 2 will kill this game before it even comes out. Deaddrop equals Brink the game. Yeah, I don't think anybody's looking at this game and thinking it'll compete with one of the biggest franchises in the world. I don't think anybody has, not even Doc himself has those delusions of grandeur. He might in character say that, but I don't think deep down Guy Beam thinks that they're going to compete with Modern Warfare 2. The fact this is out this early is pretty cool. Happy to see the Society seems to open up and is looking for feedback. Yeah, I mean, this is the Midnight Society game, or the Dr. Disrespect game. It's called Deaddrop. For those of you just tuning in, take the poll at the top of the chat and grade it. If we get 50 more likes on the video, we'll be at 200, and that'll be really helpful. Uh-huh. And here it seems there are sections that you don't have access to, right? There are sections that you don't have access to, and that might be something that's to do with the extraction elements of the game. Like, you might have to get stuff in this area. You might have to, like, actually get a key or some sort of mechanic or something to get through or to get up, would be my thought. The gun's lack of middle sight post is going to give me an aneurysm. Well, keep in mind, if you're killing people and getting gear, this might just be a straight-up iron sight, you know, nothing gun. You haven't bought the NFT for that area yet. Yeah, that... I changed the settings to help the frames. I'm biased, though. I subbed to 2 people alone on the dock. There you go. Fanboys will play it no matter how it looks anyway. Yeah, but the question is not whether or not people that love the dock are going to play this. The question is whether or not a lot of people will play it and then continue playing it. There's the curiosity factor, and then there's the hype factor. Tons of people are going to be curious, and tons of people are going to be hyped. They're going to play it based on those factors alone. That's not what a game needs to survive and thrive. It needs people to continue to play. It needs people that care and that want to play and want to jump back in. Your ongoing model needs to be sustainable. How are you making money? Like, how are you adding on to the game? How are you paying your staff? How are you satisfying investors? At least the doc is a gamer, so he'll probably be really critical of the game. Someone might play this on a PS2 or an iPhone 3. I mean, I wouldn't kid yourself. Their primary challenge is likely going to be that lots of people actually try to play it when it first starts. All right, let me show you this one. So in this one, Paul has turned up the resolution. He's turned up the settings. He's done some things to make it look better. And I've got the music turned off because we don't want to get copyright claim. So he has turned it up quite a bit. Now this obviously would be pretty demanding of your computer to run it at this level. But you can see, look at that. Look at that. On the gun, you see yeah, and then yeah. The firing mode's on the gun. That's great. That's great. I actually think the level of detail in the gun is very good. I do. I think you've got multiple layers of signs of, you know, texture and realism. You have the actual metal itself having different textures throughout. You're having signs of wear and tear on the corners, on the edges, scratches, etc. Here you can see clear, you know, welding marks. I think the work they put into the gun looks very good. Now up here, these on the front, they don't look done yet. These look like flat textures. There's nothing going on here for whatever reason. Like the rest of the gun looks really, really good. But all the way on the left, if you see my mouse moving really, really fast over there, these don't seem to have anything on them. Like they haven't been textured yet for some reason. It's possible that when you're holding the gun, you can't really see them or something. But looking here from the side, you can clearly see that those don't look like they have been, they've had anything done to them. We get a better look here. Like that literally looks like a Lego piece that doesn't look like it belongs on the gun. So there is aspects of even the gun design that isn't finished yet. I'm not knocking them, by the way. This is totally normal for a game in pre-alpha to not have certain things polished and looking like they're supposed to. So, yeah, you got to buy the texture blue for $15 like in Halo. Okay. So now he's going to go into this shooting range. See, again, just from my perspective, even with the graphics turned up, the first thing I notice is that there's so many shadows and there's so much going on. Right? There's like a fog and a steam coming down. There's different lights and different angles and different areas. Like you've got render distance all the way up through the ceiling. They may have to turn this down. That's how guardrails look in real life. They look like they have no texture on them. Like they look like they stand out on the gun. I don't know. I'm not an expert on guns or whatever, but like you put even if it has like a splash of like wear and tear or like scratches or something, like they were literally flawless compared to the rest of the weapon that was, you know, kind of worn and torn. Had some wear and tear on it. Like, I can't tell if here they're just showing off, right? Are they just showing off, or do they intend the game to look like this when you're playing it? Like, is it going to be hard to see? Are you going to have, like, the flashing fluorescent bulbs, and are you going to have, like, that Doom feel? Like, it looks cool atmospherically, kind of feels like a Metro game, but yeah, that might not be super conducive to a comp shooter. Guns of thousands of rounds through them look pretty clean. I mean, I was just comparing it to the rest of the gun, Eugene. We got 151 votes. Deaddrop gameplay pre-alpha. How would you rate it? It's getting a C for most of you. I mean, if I'm a dev, I actually think that's probably what they were hoping to hear. They know they don't want people to blow smoke up their rear end. They know that this isn't a finished product, so they don't want to, you know, it's an A, bro. Like, no, it's not. So here now, Paul's giving us a closer look. He's giving us a closer look at one of the dummies and the level of detail they've put in here with the different textures and different pieces. It's actually not bad at all for it's a bit of a Borderlands feel. I'm getting a black outline vibe on some of the edges. Like almost like a high-res Borderlands model. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just noticing that slight, very slight black stroke is what you would call that in like Photoshop. Black outline on the character. Texture on the wall doesn't seem to be at the appropriate resolution compared to the texture on the dummy. That again is just, you know, polish that we're not worried about right now. That's not a deep concern. We're getting more consistent frames per second. Paul, you know, tweaked whatever settings he did. Now, the hitches and the snags that we might be seeing, that 100% could be... oh, Paul wants you to sub to his channel. There it is. Okay. Paul's Gaming Live. That's where we're getting the footage, guys. Be sure to check out that channel and support him. We want to support the people whose content we use. Yeah, like, watch the way the light comes down the building. Man, I gotta say, I can't see that being in the live game. This feels like this feels a little bit like a show-off move. The reflections, the multiple types of reflections, because it's hitting different things and reflecting in different ways. I just can't see that making it into the live game. That seems way too demanding and so unnecessary. This is 100%. It's just the starting area. Maybe this is a polish. Look at our game, what it could look like. But I'm sure if this is a comp shooter, you can turn down the graphics. Yeah, a lot of guys are going to turn all that stuff down. Get some water effects now, like that lens water effect in rain. In games where there's rain, I should say. Some lightning. You see the lightning kind of bouncing off in this section, yeah. So clearly the light source is out behind us now, out through that narrow kind of opening in the building. So now he's gone out here to kind of peek around. Yeah, there. Okay, so there's the Doc's logo right there. Way out there. The man himself. Dr. Disrespect game. Old Midnight Society game, or whatever you want to call it. Not surprising. Not surprising to see the Doc logo out there. Maybe one day we'll get to go out there and fight in his building. So there's some Deaddrop assets. The official media kit is on Midnight Society's website. They actually have a They have branding standards that I tried to kind of abide by them with my thumbnail. I wanted to put Deaddrop and the skull together on the left side of the thumbnail, but they're supposed to be separate, and I didn't like the skull being underneath, so I used them as separate entities, which you're allowed to do according to their brand standards and guidelines. I don't think they would like come after you if you didn't, but I just think it's nice, you know, to respect that request. I can't get it to loop all these overlays. There we go. I have annotations turned off, but end cards must not count. So again, this is a little bit different than the footage we've already watched. It's just slightly different. You can get out of the map and walk over to it. Oh, nice. This is a little bit different than the footage we've watched before. Paul went back. And again, I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm just saying it does seem slightly like, again, just some wear and tear up here. If it looks like that on a gun, like on an actual gun like this, I would say just a little bit of wear and tear. Just some variance. There's no variance. It's super uniform, and the rest of the gun is very. There's just more dynamics to the colors and the scratches and stuff. And again, we understand this is an early build, so I'm not nitpicking that piece of the gun. I think it's just an indication that, you know, some of this stuff hasn't been combed over totally yet. Okay. You just keep saying the same thing, so I'm put you in timeout. 100% y'all currently console with Slug running this chat. How long until release? So according to Dr. Disrespect, Paul said that he just said today they're looking to have Deaddrop release date be 2023. Now, I would obviously expect that to be late 2023. I am more of the belief that this game was going to be on a 2-year development cycle. I was predicting 2024 for this game because it is a battle royale, and the scope of a battle royale is significantly smaller than a game like, you know, like Jedi Fallen Order is having its sequel potentially coming out in March. That's going to be like a 3-year design window, but if they're using existing assets and stuff, you can maybe see how they could pull it off. Generally speaking, the design window for like a really, really good single-player game or like an RPG or even like an online RPG or something is usually 4 to 5 years or more. I don't expect that with a battle royale that all takes place in one building. You've got one sort of like weapon ecosystem. So I was willing to say, oh, they could crank this out in 2 years. They could spend 1 year with the community, getting feedback, testing, and then spend 1 year polishing. They're looking to do this thing 1.5 years, which I think that might be ambitious. That might be a little too ambitious. I don't know, though. I don't know. Maybe they decide to launch the game in beta. That, you know, that's not beyond the scope of what, you know, has been happening. But to me, that feels pretty ambitious to have it trying to launch that early. This is the footage we've been watching. This is the footage that we've been watching. Graphics are a little bit more tuned and toned down in this, a little bit longer, and we get to see some gunplay as well. The Discord is good. You can chat with the dev, says Paul. Paul says he paid for the inside access. He said the console build is dropping soon. So Paul is one of the founders. He's one of the guys, you know, kind of on the inside. He's in the Discord. He gets in. He gets to play. And he's saying that the console build is coming. Now, I'm overanalyzing the gun model, but it really doesn't make sense. I think sometimes guns just do stuff because it looks cool, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not in real life, but in games for sure. Yo, what's good, Fonzo? How are you? I wonder if for mods and loadouts, since it's just the front accessory rail. Who knows? Yeah, it might just be for stuff to put up there. Hang on. That ADS seemed really fast. Does it feel fast? No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It felt fast because I was like looking away. Yeah, that's not bad. This is BR. It's going to be an extraction BR as you move your way up through a building. If you've not played an extraction BR, Escape from Tarkov is essentially a game with loot, with objectives. There may even be PvE, environmental or enemies, like AI enemies that you have to, like, fight against. So the idea being you got to, like, work your way up through this building. You'll have things you have to do, gather, or find or defeat to move up through. All while you're doing that, there'll be other players in the building trying to do the same thing. Just got a new job, more money finally. Hey, nice job, Anodyne. Good for you. So, the reason we have the poll at the top of the chat, if you want to take the poll and kind of, answer, Deaddrop gameplay, how would you rate it? Almost 200 votes. Most people are giving it a C, 44%, 25% giving it a B, 11% giving it an A, and then 20% giving it a D. I would say that if the devs saw that result, if that result is indicative of what most of the public would say about this, that, about half of the public would look at this and give it a C, I think they would probably be okay with that. They'd be like, listen, we're not trying to wow anybody right now. We're trying to convince people and prove to people that we are, in fact, building a game. Like, my brother hangs out in chat every day, and he was one of the naysayers. He's like, I guarantee you we don't ever see a playable version of this game. Like, he doesn't have any confidence in the doc. He doesn't like the doc. He's not like me. Like, I like the doc. I think the doc's visionary. I think he's a great entertainer. And I was like, no, I think doc's got the right talent. He scooped up the right people. They will 100% launch a game. Right? I'm not a huge fan of the NFT aspect, but if they keep it out of the game, then I can kind of, like, look the other way. It has a fixed handle that looks like it's part of the frame. You wouldn't have a top rail. The rail would be part of the handle. Now you have side and under rails, but the top rail doesn't make sense at all. Mo money for coffee, that's right. Guys, don't forget, we launched merch over there on reforgeroast.com. We have 3 mugs. We have a Team Light, a Team Dark, and then a Reforge Gaming. So we have 3 different mugs, and we have t-shirts. Some people today have already ordered some mugs. So very, very cool. Nay for NFTs. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of NFTs. I don't think they have any place in gaming. I think they're largely get built on the idea of getting rich quick with no value. They feel like a pyramid scheme a lot of the times. So I'm kind of confused as to why anybody would step out and try and do anything with it. Just largely because of the criticism and the doubt within the consumer base about it. So you have NFTs. They're called JPEGs. Yeah, there you go. You can totally do NFTs as a JPEG. That's right. The old Modern Warfare 2 community manager 402 is involved with this. If I didn't have 47 coffee mugs, I would definitely have bought one with the order earlier. Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate you ordering the coffee, Silent Warrior. Seriously, the coffee is ours. That's like ours. You're buying that from me. The mugs are handled by, a third party because I'm not going to be printing and making mugs. That's just not something I'm going to be doing. But we thought, hey, let's have some merch. That's a good idea, right? So we appreciate anybody who's willing to order merch, t-shirt, mug, any of that. For sure. Did we decide if this blows Call of Duty out of the water? That's a whole topic alone. I would avoid talking too much crap about other games. Yeah, I don't think there's a reason to compare this to other games. I think Barrier's, he's using a cap on purpose because people were coming in and saying, like, Modern Warfare 2 is going to crap all over this. It's like, I don't think they're citing, competing, with that. I've been asking, definitely grabbing a shirt. Keep in mind, Orphan Twin, right now the shirts are only on Reforged Roast. So they are Reforged Roast shirts. We'll have our own merch lineup for Reforge Gaming very soon. That'll be on a different website. Reforge Roast is literally the coffee website. Like, all of the stuff there has to do with the coffee. The only reason we're doing a Reforge Gaming mug is because it's a coffee mug, right? Are the shirts Lono size or adult size? Yeah, they're adult size, Abe. Doc said it would blow Call of Duty out of the water. Right, but you have to see through the posture and the man. You have to see through the character. You have to see through the character of Doc. Like, when Doc says that, he doesn't genuinely mean that this game is going to blow Call of Duty. Like, he's not, deep down inside, he knows that's not going to be a thing. He knows the economic reality of Call of Duty and what Modern Warfare 2 is going to do and what Warzone 2 is going to do. He's like, Guy Beam is not ignorant to that reality. But he can't say that in character. It would break character. Wear it on tour. I'll be at the show on September 11th, says Omega. You know how much I would pay for a bespoke handmade mug? $10, maybe $15. Does the average person need to see through the character? What I'm saying is, I get it, Eugene, but it's all part of the package. Like, you don't tune in and support Doc and give Doc money because you think he's the best. Like, you'll say he's the best. You'll tip him money and say he's the best. You'll tell your friends he's the best. But deep down, you know, like, Doc's not the best at the games that he plays. You know what I'm saying? The average consumer sees blows Call of Duty out of the water, and then they see something that most definitely doesn't. Seems like a really bad from a marketing standpoint. But you have to see that this is not to market, that they're not doing this to market to the average consumer. You also have to see that, like, they didn't put this footage out. Paul did. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm kind of surprised they're letting people like Paul and others record footage and upload it. I thought they would kind of keep it under wraps and they would show their own thing, right? Like, when I saw this video, I was actually kind of surprised. I was like, oh, wow. 0 NDAs, says Paul. The fact that they have 0 NDAs and they're taking feedback and they have their Discord, you can go in and talk to people in the Discord with feedback. I don't know. To me, that doesn't sound like a company that is trying to trick people. Like, look at it another way, Eugene. If we, like, look at the day before and how everybody started looking at that footage and really coming over and they're like, wait a minute, what the frick is this? There's no way this studio built this game, right? Like, if they came out with something that was just absolutely bonkers insane, sure, they might get those other guys to be like, oh yeah, this game's totally going to blow Call of Duty out of the water. But the rest of the industry would be like, okay, this footage has definitely been juiced up. This is fake. That statement will follow the game for all of time. I don't know. I don't agree with that. Doc saying it on a stream and it's spreading word of mouth is not the same as them putting it on official marketing in a trailer or on their website. Doc pops off and streams all the time. You know, he uninstalls games all the time, then he's playing them 2 days later. Oh, he tweeted it. I can take a screenshot right now. Blows out anything from the Call of Duty engine. Just wait until next month. He's saying it's blowing out everything from the Call of Duty engine. What exactly is he meaning? Like, I don't see anything here that blows out the Call of Duty engine. We literally watched campaign footage of Modern Warfare 2. Why would he do that? I thought he said it in a stream. Like, oh yeah, it's going to blow Call of Duty out of the water. Like, okay, that's the Doc being the Doc. But to tweet in response to a couple of guys on Twitter a month ago, I can take a screenshot right now. Blows out anything from the Call of Duty engine. Just wait until next month. Again, that's Doc talking. That's right, but again, like, I think there's a big difference between him on some stream popping off and be like, oh, just you wait, guys, it's going to blow Call of Duty out of the water. Then, like, tweeting a sort of like thoughtful comment, like it's actually gonna. He's not saying that as like the Doc swagger. He's like, oh no, it blows the Call of Duty engine out of the water. Where? Call of Duty engine ain't anything special. He ain't lying. Yeah, but yeah, he's doing the wait until. Wait until. I don't know, man. I've played a lot of Call of Duty in my time. I don't see anything in this that blows the Call of Duty engine out of the water. There's nothing here that stands out. Like, take the Call of Duty engine at its worst. Like, I don't see anything here that is, oh man, they can't do that in the Call of Duty engine. They can't do a flat 2D sprite of a fire in a barrel. You know what I mean? They can't do some rainwater on the ground. I would say textures, and that's a bit it right now. Right, when you look at Paul... Okay, hang on. Let's go to Paul's other footage for a second. Let's go to Paul's other footage. I'm willing to concede that this does look way better than anything I've currently seen in the Call of Duty engine. With respect to color vibrancy, the actual full range of color that we're seeing. It's not full range, but like they're doing some of that trickery to make it look like there's a wide range of color in the game. And the level of details in textures and lighting. Sure, a lot of the Call of Duties, if you play them right now, aren't going to look this good. Now, that's not necessary. That's one of the things I zeroed in on as a concern. I'm like, well, is that going to be good for the game? Do comp players want rain and fog and steam and shadows? Are they going to be annoyed? Like this right here, is anything in the Call of Duty engine right now looking like this? They don't really pride themselves on this. You know what I'm saying? Now, Modern Warfare 2, which isn't out yet, I would say looks way better than this. Everything we saw from Modern Warfare 2 up to now, all that stuff we saw, that campaign, looks like bonkers amazing. I have people saying they thought Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 didn't look good, and I was like, I don't know what you're smoking, but it looks incredible. Up to this point, I don't think Call of Duty's been that impressive with graphics and their content, because that's not really what they sell themselves on anyways. I don't really know if that's what I'd be trying to sell Deaddrop on. Are you trying to sell Deaddrop on graphics, or are you trying to sell it on gameplay? What's going to keep people playing? He means a new Modern Warfare engine started in Modern Warfare 2019 is horrendous. Has a stuck-in-the-mud feel, sluggish aiming. The Modern Warfare engine might be decent for the campaign, but for multiplayer, it's terrible. So you think Doc is speaking specifically to how the engine is sluggish and bad in multiplayer? Because yeah, I mean, Eugene, you're grabbing full rendered screenshots. Come on, don't cheat. Like, of course, I can go grab fully rendered cinematic trailers and do the same thing. You're not proving anything, and you know that deep down. Modern Warfare 2019 is the best received Call of Duty in recent years. I'm not talking about Modern Warfare 2019 being bad. I'm just reading what somebody said. He's saying that the engine in Modern Warfare 2019 is horrendous. It has a stuck-in-the-mud feel. It's sluggish aiming. The engine might be decent for the campaign, but for multiplayer, it's terrible. It's weird. Deaddrop is getting equal coverage from video game channels and crypto in my subscriptions. First I've seen it do that. Engine, he said engine. Okay. He said engine. Screenshots. Yeah, but you're going to fully rendered cinematics. We all know that's cheating. If you're going to look at Paul's gameplay and then you're going to go to screenshots of fully rendered cinematics, we don't know what this game can do because all we have is Paul walking around and shooting stuff. What do you mean then don't say engine? We've not seen the engine push to that limit. We've not seen a fully rendered scene with the lighting effects and the texture all the way ramped up. We've not seen that. We've seen Paul walking around and shooting stuff. Like, yeah, if you look at Modern Warfare 2 gameplay, you're going to see things that look flat or not that impressive. Yeah, you go to the gameplay trailer where they've got everything souped all the way up to the max. That doesn't mean it's going to look like that when we're playing it, and it certainly doesn't mean that's what he's referring to. It's a misconception. Modern Warfare 2019 is looked upon as one of the worst Call of Duty games in the franchise. The only people that ended up liking Modern Warfare 2019 were people that it was their first Call of Duty game. I am not in tune with the Call of Duty community enough to comment on how well Modern Warfare 2019 did. You have to play it, not just watch it on YouTube. The Call of Duty feel is usually very tight for its specific feel. He said blow it out, their engine out of the water. He said he can prove it with screenshots. It's the Unreal 5 engine versus Call of Duty engine. Yeah, so if they're building this in the Unreal 5 engine, Eugene, he could prove it. He could go fully rendered, show you some scene with crazy lighting and crazy textures, and be like, yeah, look, our this is blowing it out of the water. You start bringing engine level in, I go to renders. Yeah, and they haven't shown that yet. Like, again, you're going to screenshot renders of Modern Warfare and trying to compare it to, like, Paul walking around an early build level. If they're using UE5, then yeah, I guarantee you he's got some screenshots that probably look bonkers crazy good. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah, he could probably put out screenshots right now and be like, yeah, UE5. He doesn't back it up. Yeah, but there's a difference between them pushing out fully rendered screenshots and marketing materials at the level that Modern Warfare 2 has done, and Paul uploading his own footage. Like, you're drawing a straight line when there is none. This is not official on their site. Their website, they've not pushed out their own YouTube channel. They've not pushed out a bunch of gameplay. So what I'm saying is he 100%, Doc could be looking at screenshots being like, oh my gosh, this UE5 was such the right choice. Look at these renders. Look how great this is going to look. Sure, that's not like, and even that, I would even say that right there looks comparable to some of the screenshots that Paul just posted a moment ago of Modern Warfare gameplay. The level of shadow detail, texture detail, lighting, render distance all the way over here to the bricks underneath this light. I can see shadows underneath the bricks over there. It's actually pretty impressive. Like, I'm not saying it's blowing it out of the water. Like, I think we always need to remember we're dealing with the guy in character tweeting about his game. Like, he's not the marketing director. You know what I'm saying? He's being the doc. But it also doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to do things with UE5 that are going to look incredibly good. We just haven't seen it yet. We've got videos of Paul walking around. We don't have any official marketing anything on this where they're showing what the engine can do. I'm not saying it's going to blow them out of the water. What I'm saying is we've already seen screenshots from Unreal 5 that absolutely will blow the Call of Duty engine out of the water. Do we really need to show the UE5 stuff that we're seeing that will look better than stuff we've seen in Call of Duty up to date? Yeah, that gameplay looks totally fine. But I've seen stuff from Unreal 5 that looks better. We've seen homemade projects in Unreal 5 that look better than that. Like, the Call of Duty engine isn't bad. It looks great. When we watched the Modern Warfare 2 gameplay, I was like, this looks amazing. And people are like, what? It looks the same as the last game. I'm like, you're high if you think this looks the same as the last game. It looks incredible. Homemade projects requiring 3080s. Yeah, but where are you getting those screenshots? Like, what rigs are you getting them from? Like, I don't know. You're going to Google. You're not booting that up on an Xbox One. You're not getting that fidelity on a PS4 and getting good frame rate. Call of Duty does have a well-oiled engine. I mean, I don't know how much of it's still built on the Quake 3 engine, but the Quake 3 engine was one of the... I mean, they use that foundation for frickin' years. It's not out of the realm of possibility this ends up being better than Call of Duty. Call of Duty's been getting worse for the better part of a decade. The idea that UE5 is so far advanced beyond the house engines is a folly. I don't think anybody's saying that, but I think we have seen fully rendered stuff that's bonkers. That guy that did that thing with that subway, there were people that thought it was fake, that he just recorded a real life subway with the phone. Like, it was fully rendered. He cheated. It wasn't raw. It was fully rendered. It looked real. I'm not saying that other engines can't get to that level of photorealism. What I'm saying is UE5 is very, very good. Like, the stuff that I've seen, I'm like, most games don't look like that. Photogrammetry will help a lot. I just feel it's very, very early. Doc has stated the game will need 2 to 3 years. It is curious to know what engine they are working with. They're using UE5. I'm sorry, they say the game looks clunky and graphics are not good. I'm still convinced that none of this is intended to blow us out of the water yet. I think this is literally intended to prove to people they have a game. They don't have NDAs, so they're letting guys like Paul and others upload their gameplay just so people can be like, yeah, there's a game. Those guys are founders. They're getting in. They're getting to run around and shoot some stuff and kind of look at and kind of look at some basics. This is literally proof of concept. Yeah, proof of life. None of this has been put together in a marketing package. None of this has been put together in any official capacity. Go to Midnight Society's Twitter account. Go to Deaddrop's Twitter account. Go to their website. They're not shoving gameplay out into the public at all. They're not. Is it running at 10 FPS or is that YouTube? It's Paul definitely says that the FPS is inconsistent. He says you can run mods that make it run more like it makes it run more stable or better, but Paul's saying it runs awful. This is none of this is meant to hype anybody up or make anybody come out of their seat. All of this is meant to say, hey, the game's actually being built. I was thinking the same thing. The first snapshot was just to show, hey, the game's being developed and it's being worked on. It's also something that they promised to all of their backers. So this is literally them making good on that promise. Hey, you guys are going to get in, you're going to get to play, and you're going to have no NDA. Paradox says, founder here, it doesn't run awful. I mean, I'm looking at Paul's footage, and I'm seeing a lot of issues with frame rate fluctuation and some sluggishness in the frame rate. And we're also looking at like a freaking 75 FOV. It depends on hardware. I mean, I don't know what you're running, but I'm pretty sure Paul's running a strong rig. Maybe it could be a like chipset configuration thing. Like you have a strong rig and he has a strong rig, but maybe you have a card or a CPU that plays friendlier with it. I don't know. Check all weekend, looking trim now like Lono. Yo, what's good, Sky? I have a 5900 3070 and at medium I was getting 60 FPS all day. It's an alpha, clearly. It shows some promise. It's not optimized at all. What engine is Deaddrop using? UE5. Unreal Engine 5 is what this game is using. Paul's got a 3070, he says. The FPS is all over the place. I've seen it on a bunch of other videos. Yeah, I think this guy is just in here on alts. I think you are the same as the other guy I timed out. You're saying and talking exactly like him. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of both of you. I'm pretty sure you're the same person. Keeg the Geek. Hey, Lono, hope you're doing well. Yo, what's good, Keeg? How are you? Somebody literally brought up the Alexa video the other day. On Ultra, it dips into the 40s for sure, says Paradox. Efficiency is efficiency. Refactoring the code and processes is like the last major thing a dev does. I would not expect something shown this early to be very efficient. Yeah, we spoke about him exactly, Butters. I was like, something ain't right here. I watch the video every now and then. I still die laughing. Good stuff. Yeah, it was really funny. There we go. Yeah, Eugene, he was just saying the same thing over and over. Like, he would say, such and such game is better than this. Such and such game is better than this. Like, Ed Kemper was doing the exact same thing. Like, I think he was literally just in here on alts. It might have been the troll. Like, it makes sense that he would make alts and just try to be, like, very, very low-key disruptive instead of just, like, being nasty and getting banned right away. $10, he'll be tweeting about me today. And he'll probably reference this part in particular and say something about me being a narcissist. I don't know where you're getting the OG Call of Duty correlation from Modern Warfare 2019. Modern Warfare 2019 rewarded you for not moving and punished you for being aggressive. Modern Warfare 2019 didn't even have dead silence as a perk. That guy was here Friday. It's not that guy. Unwound Admin says Tiddlywinks is better in this game. Feedback from everyone is important, says Paradox. Someone dropped the stream in our founder Discord chat. How the game looks to viewers is just as important as when playing. Wait, somebody dropped this stream in the Discord, Paradox? My stream? If you guys are here from the Midnight Society or the Deaddrop Discord, happy to have you here. We don't do gameplay breakdowns like this all the time, but when we do, I'm usually like in this screen. Typically, I am in this screen breaking down essentially a topic in the talk show format. This morning, we talked about the potential of a PS5 price hike, and we debated it. I am a safe for work broadcaster, so a lot of people treat me almost like a video game radio show or podcast. So, listen, I'm a big fan of the doc. I'm not a huge fan of the NFT aspects. As long as those things stay out of the game, I'll look the other way. I don't like NFTs. I think by and large they've been used in pretty uncool, dishonest, scammy ways. I don't think the way that Midnight Society did it was necessarily wrong. I just hear NFTs and I recoil immediately. If it stays out of the game, then I don't really care. I've always liked Doc as a content creator, as a streamer. I think he's an innovative guy, and I think this game could actually be, pretty successful given the concept I think is creative. And Doc's got a lot of guys that could help him get this thing into the mainstream headlines. He's got some big friends that would be wanting to play, week one, day one. I hate NFTs. I don't mind the way this game is using them. I like the Team DM because I hadn't played Call of Duty for a while since 2011. Yeah, so some of you may be wondering why Call of Duty is being debated in the chat. So basically, Doc tweeted end of June this year that he could show screenshots and that this game can blow Call of Duty's engine out of the water. And so we got onto a debate about Call of Duty's engine, just how good it is, and Leonidas in chat started saying that the engine is actually pretty clunky and not that great. And so people were debating whether or not what we're seeing right here is going to blow Call of Duty out of the water. My pushback and very low-key defense of what Doc said is, number one, we know that Unreal Engine 5 can do incredible things, and we know that Doc likes to peacock. So I think we're getting the combination of two things. He is extremely confident in his product and the engine, and he's the Doc. So, of course, he's going to say things like that. The question is whether or not it comes back to haunt him. Like, are people going to be like, when they see the finished product, are they going to say, this doesn't come anywhere close to Call of Duty, right? We'll see. UE5 is very good. The level of detail we're seeing here with shadows, textures, lighting, rain, and how there's a lot of dark areas. I'm not sure if the competitive landscape will take kindly to it. It's also curious how much you might have to turn down just to get it to run smoothly. The average person playing a game like this isn't going to want like steam and fog and rain and super, I don't even know what you'd call it. Very, very high detailed lighting. I don't know if they're going to want that. To be honest, the game in-game, it looks better than most Call of Duty multiplayer maps already, says Paradox. I think that was a dot character quip, not like a legit claim. People forget he's a character. It's hard to say that when he mentions the engine, right, Paradox? Like, if he was just like, oh, it blows Call of Duty out of the water. Like, I that's what I heard. I heard, oh, that's just Doc being Doc. But then when I went and read the tweet, I was like, he's talking about the engine. That's a bold statement. That Modern Warfare 2 trailer looked pretty good. I can't imagine playing a character all the time. Must be exhausting. Also, Zelda games are for children, and I'm not sure women have feelings like actual people. Zubair. Doc's persona is no different than John Romero or Cliffy B. I don't know how much Cliffy B tweets in character anymore, though. I miss Hillbilly Jack. Yeah, a lot of people miss Hillbilly Jack and want him to come back. I don't know in what capacity I could do it. Paradox says, basically you don't need to use the NFTs or buy anything at all. They're basically using NFTs to use Polygon as a marketplace for in-game items rather than making their own. Okay. For an early alpha, this took me from little to no interest to mild curiosity. This isn't what I was expecting at all. The atmosphere is interesting so far. Wheezy says, the problem I have with the doc saying that this is just that is he just honestly shouldn't have. Because now you have to invite the comparisons. People were going to do it naturally, but now you have people with a microscope. Do you think it is concerning how little Modern Warfare 2 gameplay we've seen, given it's out in less than 3 months? What do you mean, Rob? They showed us an entire mission. How is that not enough? Any word on when Midnight Society will be releasing official gameplay? No. Apparently, Doc said today it's coming out in 2023. I was guessing 2024. I was giving them a 2-year window for dev. 1 year for all of this with the community, and then another year for polish. Beta's in a few weeks. Oh, multiplayer? How often do Call of Duty trailers show multiplayer? Don't they typically just do like live action with celebrities, and then they do either a cinematic or a gameplay reveal from the campaign? We all mostly thought we were getting a gray block firing range area. They undersold the snapshot and over-delivered. If they keep doing it, it will get praise, says Paradox. So Paradox is saying, as a founder, they felt like they were going to get a bare bones, Minecraft room to shoot in, and they got this. What if that's his end game? Get the microscopes out early so you have a nice backlog of specific items to fix and beat instead of just things that you think you should have done. Yeah, what if Doc's playing like 3D chess? Right? What if Doc's playing 3D chess? He's like, this is what we do. We peacock and we boast and we brag. And then everyone's going to overanalyze and be very critical. They're going to point out every minor flaw. They're going to point out every misstep. And that's our marching orders. That's how we make the game the most polished, most pristine thing ever. I mean, it's not beyond the scope of possibilities that Doc understands how to manipulate at that degree. He's been doing this a really, really long time. It could be the convergence of Dr. Disrespect the entertainer and YouTuber and the guy who worked for Sledgehammer and being like, listen, this is what you do. This is how you get the public to give you everything that you need from them. You tell them you're going to make a game that blows Call of Duty out of the water. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to compare every square inch of the game to COD. And then the developers just look at that and say, okay, we can fix all those things. They legit said they want us to be super harsh on the game. They seem to really want super critical feedback. Well, one of the best ways to invite super critical feedback is to do what the doc did, is to be pretty, is to peacock pretty large. Like, literally say something that you know is going to invite scrutiny, and as it was said a moment ago, microscopes. I don't know. I don't put it past Doc to do that. I think he's a pretty bright guy. I think a lot of the times people forget, and they just think he's some, machismo, super macho, arrogant character. And it's like, I don't know. He didn't get to where he is by accident. He didn't fall backwards into the success that he's had. My question has and always will be, what happens when it comes out and it doesn't hold an audience? I don't know. Running in this alpha gameplay. That's pretty good, Butters. The poll at the top of the chat's got 327 votes. Deaddrop gameplay pre-alpha. How would you rate it? 40% are saying it's a C level. 25% are giving it a B. 65% of the audience is giving it a B or a C. I think the devs would be pretty happy with those results, personally. This early of a build, 65%. I know that we're not the entire public, but he told Jake Lucky they already fired 6 sound design guys, so I say he's serious about doing the best he can. It will, for their sake, hopefully have high early engagement, but can they maintain the base? Oh, I said that earlier, Wheeze. I have zero doubt in my mind they can get a ton of people to play this during the launch week. You're going to have 2 things at play. I said the 2 pillars at play that will give this game a large engagement funnel during its launch week is curiosity and hype. Because there are going to be people that are uber hyped that Doc's game is finally out, and then there's going to be curiosity. There's going to be people that are just like, I got to see if this thing's worth a darn. Right? That's not the question. The question is, are people coming back next month? Are they coming back next week? How are you going to get them to keep coming back? That's the real question. Because every game is facing that massive challenge. It's just return user logins. To the point that some games have literally built themselves around that general principle to a fault. Halo Infinite. Like, they've built and structured Halo around, we need people to log in every day. If we don't have that, then we're dead. If they can change maps and feed the game loop more than COD, it'll do just fine. Oh, you gotta keep in mind, Doc is good friends with a bunch of BR Call of Duty communities. He has some pull. Paradox says, I think if they do it right, it could be an easier to understand Escape from Tarkov with a major market, in my opinion. It'll be a mix of Escape from Tarkov and Battle Royale, it seems, but that's all up for debate at our roundtables with the devs. I think the biggest struggle they're going to have, Paradox, is they have to build the game like a fully extended accordion. You have to have such a broad reach. Think about taking an accordion and fully extending it like this. You have to have an entrance floor so that people can just come in and have fun, even if they're literal garbage trash players. But you have to be able to climb all the way up to that ceiling. That's one of the reasons that Fortnite got to where it was. Uber accessible, crazy high ceiling of skill expression. And that's why Fortnite started adjusting things. Fortnite started having to adjust things. Why? Because they had to make that floor lower and lower and lower and lower because you need those people to keep coming in and playing. So you're saying, oh, it's a more approachable Escape from Tarkov. Well, if you do that, are you inevitably going to start lowering that ceiling and bore the hardcore guys? Like, you have to just land in that nice sweet spot where, as your accordion is fully extended, these people can come down in at the bottom level and have fun, but people can ascend to the heights of greatness and feel like, yeah, I'm really loving this game. I'm going to play it every day. I'm going to play it every week. I think that's a challenge for any game, by the way. That's not a challenge specific to Midnight Society, Dr. Disrespect, and Deaddrop. But that's got to be a major. That has to be a major consideration. I've already got ideas on that. Make a casual mode where your loot is safe, and then a ranked where you can steal loot from killed players, extract early, or play for the win, and a big reward package. Also, it helped Riot pretty much. It helped Riot had pretty much millions upon millions to make Valorant a blanking hit. Right. Is Lono really talking about fully extending his accordion? I thought we saved that for Fridays. The only challenge with your suggestion, Paradox, is that you have to be careful that you don't want to fragment your player base. Right? We've talked about this before. There is the stigma of ranked. Right? I think there's a stigma around ranked, which is unfortunate, because a well-built rank system is actually everything that a bad player wants. Bad players think they want skill-based matchmaking. They don't. What they want is ranked and unranked. Okay? They want ranked and unranked. But there's a stigma around ranked. They think, oh, if I go into ranked, it's going to be sweaty, and I'm going to lose rank, and I'm going to get D-ranked or whatever. So, like, you got to do two things. You got to remove the stigma around ranked, or no. You got to remove the stigma around ranked, and you have to make sure you don't fragment your player base. Now, to Paradox's suggestion, hey, you want to take it easy, you want to take it casual, then go play this casual mode where you can't lose any of your loot, right? A casual mode, your loot's safe, and then you got a ranked mode where you can steal and do all this other stuff. I think the real dilemma there becomes ranked becomes a sweat box that nobody enjoys because the casuals never, ever leave the safety harbor. They're just all hanging out in there. They're like, yeah, this is fun. It's like, well, you kind of need those guys, Because if not, the ranked playlist is just going to become an absolute sweat box. And that's really unappealing to people. Like, I don't know how you land in the middle where the more hardcore, more committed players don't have to sweat every single game, but you also have to create it to where they don't cannibalize the game and drive the rest of the player base out. Because that will definitely happen. I don't think low-skill players want rank. Rank is about winning and progressing. They just want to chill without getting their butt kicked constantly. Right. You'd have to call it something else. You'd have to call it something else. People that like Valorant like CSGO, which is super butt, and people love that. I don't know what you're talking about. CSGO and Valorant are super popular because they're good games. They're super popular because they're super good games. All right, he's going to jump down here. That's kind of the end. We don't need to keep watching it. We can just kind of chop it up in full screen. They could add a level cap. Players up to a level X can do casual as a learning playlist. Then after that, they got to go to ranked or unranked. Yeah, I don't know if you want to force ranked and unranked. I don't know. You almost have to eat around it. You have to, like, do it without telling people. Or, like, you have to do it without being like, oh, it's ranked and it's unranked. They say you don't build an esport, it chooses you. So I think they are looking to just make a great game and see what happens. I 100% agree with that. I have said numerous times that these companies that try to build an esport, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can't build an esport from a ground up. You have to build something with the principles, the foundation, and essentially almost like the playground. You got to build it so it could do it, and you hope that the organic grassroots sort of thing happens. You can't buy or fabricate or create organic interest, organic growth. It's not possible. It either happens or it doesn't. So that's exactly right. Like, esports is usually, when a game becomes a super popular esport, this is what, I think Zubair would be happy that I remember this. It's almost like an emergent property. It's like all these things converge, and out of all those things converging, a game becomes an esport. It becomes a super popular esport. It's like, this game was super popular. People started really digging it. They started homebrewing tournaments. They started talking about going, reaching out to big organizations. Teams start taking a notice, and all of a sudden, whoop, out spits an esport. But if you're like, we're going to build the next greatest esport, it's like, no. Ask Destiny 2 how that worked. Like, you can't do that. It has to happen on its own to a certain extent. I think you can lay the groundwork and kind of cross your fingers and be like, hopefully this turns into something. But you can't say you're building an esport. I feel like there was another game that tried to do that and it just didn't work. That was their intention. They were building a game hoping that the esports crowd would jump on it. I always enjoy using an accident of history. Like a confluence of events had to come together, but they weren't predictable or repeatable. So now we have blows Call of Duty out of the water and 2023 release. At what point is he writing checks his team can't cash, says Eugene. Radical Heights. I don't think Radical Heights was trying to be an esport. I don't think Radical Heights was trying to be an esport. I think it was just trying to be a successful BR. Battleborn tried that? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. The general consensus that I have with what we've seen is that they're trying right now to prove they have a game. And based on what I've seen, they're ambitious to think they're coming out in 2023. It's ambitious. That doesn't mean it can't be done, but it's ambitious. I've been covering games for 8 years, and I was willing to say 2024, a battle royale like this is going to have a smaller scope of project. It's got a smaller rule set. It's got weapons and damage. Those rule sets, that rule table, that's all a lot more contained when compared to an actual big, massive single-player, multiplayer RPG, whatever. Do you or anyone in chat have questions I might be able to answer as a founder? I'll share anything I know. I hope this shuts down any of the NFT rug pull scam talk. Well, here's the problem with the NFT rug pull scam talk paradox. No one can know that it won't happen because let's say this game comes out and it's an absolute disaster. The servers can't get spun up fast enough, bad press, people bail on it really quickly. Just imagine worst case scenario. I'm not saying worst case scenario will happen, but worst case scenarios can happen. They do, okay? Worst case scenario happens. Won't it essentially feel like a rug pull if they just kill the project? They try to get things back on track, and then 6 months in, they're like, we got to cut. We got to stop. We're out of money. It's over. It's dead. And then everybody's holding all these NFTs that are attached to literally nothing. But I'm not saying they're planning on doing that. I'm saying there is a world where that's a reality. That's an outcome where it just doesn't go their way. The chips don't fall in their favor. The dominoes fall in the wrong way. And it's like, yeah, we were out of money. This didn't work. We took a shot and it just didn't work. Now, I think there really is a level of boldness here. Because if this game doesn't work, if this game isn't successful, it's damaging to Doc's brand. Right? A lot of these other guys can walk away, get picked up by other studios. They can pick themselves back up and keep on going and go do something else. If this thing falls on its face, then it hurts his brand significantly. Like he's putting more on the line than just money. I feel like Doc's actually putting himself as a brand, as a persona. I think he's putting himself up on the block, which I think is pretty bold. I think it's pretty brave. If it's moderately successful and they end up making their money back, maybe Midnight Society starts looking into smaller projects or something, and they start really doing grassroots thing, and people just love, all the little projects that are coming out of Midnight Society. I don't know. That might be kind of counter to the brand and counter to him. That's fair. I think Doc might be able to fund it for a bit with just the stream TBH if it got so bad. But yes, that would be terrible if things went bad. It's going to hurt his reputation for all of 3 months and everyone forgets. I don't know, Abe. Maybe. So that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, they have a smash hit on their hands. People are underdog game of the year. Deaddrop is a smash hit. They're shattering player records. Everyone loves it. You just best case scenario is this thing is an absolute dynamite hit, and everyone's playing it, everyone's loving it, and that they're struggling to keep up with demand and spin up servers, and they're struggling to push out content. You got these games that just take off. You got V Rising, Valheim. There are games that can just all of a sudden be all the parts are there. Some of the team are important devs from other games as well, so their careers might be on the line if things go south. There are plenty of really, really big games that have not done very well, and the developers on those projects seem to do just fine. They just move on to something else. I don't think they're putting on the line as much as he is. I don't think. Because he's out there. His face, his brand, he's putting it out there. He's putting himself, right there up there with the project. Why do they need NFTs, though? A randomizer and a well-secured database does the same thing. I have continued to say, if I was sitting at the table with Doc, this is what I would say to him. Listen, you are going about this the wrong way. The first company that channels and harnesses the power that's being used for NFTs, but harnesses it for cosmetics, is going to print money. You're going to print money. If skins for your gun, your character, your nameplate, if you harness the power of NFTs and you can randomly generate cosmetics, so when I spend money, it's mine. Maybe I put in parameters. Maybe I really love the color red and black. I do, not just because of the Doc. I love those colors, right? Red, black, and white. I put in parameters. And you spit out a cosmetic for my helmet, my jacket, my boots, my gloves, my gun, whatever, and it's mine. I don't need to resell it on a market. I don't need it to be attached to an NFT. I've gotten immense value from that. No one can look the same as me. Whenever you buy a cosmetic and you see a bunch of people wearing that cosmetic in the game, it immediately devalues it. So if you do that, if you harness the technology that I feel is being wasted on NFTs and you put it in your game, you can literally be pointed to as a pioneer and a front runner. Like this game has 100% player unique cosmetics. When you buy it, it's yours. You're the only person that's going to look like that. Doc was good friends with Frizz. It's essentially a one-of-a-kind deal with Polygon, which Frizz leads now after leaving gaming. Oh, I assume the goal is to help Polygon and show how NFTs can be used right. Oh. I don't know. That doesn't give me confidence. A database would keep track of the same thing. The only reason for it to be an NFT is the function where the original owner can gain profit from every transaction. Yes, but the minute... oh my gosh. Okay, so the minute you turn it into an NFT, you run the risk of NFT trading hawks ruining your game. Look at what has happened to the CSGO trading market. Why do you think you're going to be immune to that? If people can think they can make money, they're coming. They will descend on your game like vultures on a carcass, and they'll be like, here we go. We're going to shred this thing. We're going to grab everything we can, try to drive up scarcity, try to disrupt that market so we can get rich and then walk away. They'll destroy your economy overnight, and you'll be like, oh, what the frick? Shouldn't give us confidence, just I think that that's why it went down. Fwiz basically got all of his friends to stream only on YouTube as well. I assume we will see tons of Polygon projects now. I'll be honest, Paradox. That worries me. I don't have a lot of confidence in what Fwiz decided to do. I don't have confidence in that move. I look at YouTube gaming, and I look at how many YouTube gaming people have left, or in my opinion, maybe they've been quietly fired, and how little the YouTube gaming front has moved the ball, and I fault a lot of those people that started smelling the green of crypto, and I think that's why everything halted, and I think that's why they're all gone. Because I think they started looking to greener pastures, and all the YouTube gaming stuff stalled out. That's my own personal theory. Nothing but gut instinct. I don't have any facts. I don't have any inside info. But my gut instinct is that all those guys were spinning the tires on the gaming project because they were smelling the crypto, and now they're all hoping that this is the next big internet gold rush. So I hear that, and I'm like, ooh boy, that sounds like a bunch of nepotistic nonsense to me. That sounds concerning. It could be amazing. But in my experience in this industry, when you got that many handshakes going on in the background, somebody somewhere is looking to make a quick buck. And it feels like, remember in The Office when they're all pointing guns at each other? It kind of feels like the opposite. Everybody's sitting in a circle and everybody's got their hand on the lever. It's like somebody's gonna pull first and be like, I'm out, and then the bottom falls out. Then the rug pull has happened. Does that make sense? It's because you pump and dump, right? Pump, and all it takes is one person, one big holder to be like, kapoonk, I'm out, and then the whole thing falls. The whole thing crumbles. In fairness, I think YouTube's leadership sucks. Doesn't listen to anyone, creators or teams. So he couldn't really do much to help YouTube gaming anymore because they were limited. So he left. That could be a narrative that fits and tracks, Paradox. Because I have been incredibly frustrated as a YouTube live streamer. I've been incredibly frustrated at the slowness of progress and how long basic features have been taken to add and how we keep being given assurances that like good things are coming, right? It 100% could be leadership. It could be. It could be that the YouTube gaming team was doing a bad job and they all got canned because a lot of them have left and they've been given an honorable leave, like I'm leaving on my own, you know. It could shake either way. I don't have to validate my gaming experience. I can bring saying that I've been playing games while you're having... That's good. What would that do? I'm not sure what you guys are still debating. I said your argument is subjective. My gamer tag has nothing to do with that argument. What are you guys still debating? You just want a random roll cosmetic? I'm not saying I want a randomly rolled cosmetic. I think randomly generated cosmetics for NFTs is a waste of good technology. I think it's a waste of good technology. Like, You're here to tell me that you have the ability to give people 100% unique cosmetic items. Why are you not just putting that in a game as a pure value transmission to the consumer? Like, why are you not doing that? Why do we have to do this NFT thing? Like, no one has substantiated the impetus for NFTs inclusion in gaming. It always feels like a hand wave. You don't understand. They can take it with them anywhere. No, they can't. You're assuming and presuming that other game companies are going to have an incentive and a reason to create a cohesion with your cosmetics and your items. You don't know that. You're presuming that. They may have every interest in not doing that, because then they have more of a reason to sell theirs. Well, why do I need to buy yours? I can bring mine with me. These guys make better ones. No one has shown how that's even going to work. Well, but you'll be able to take it with you into any game. What do you mean? So if I buy a skin in your game, I can take it into another game? How? They're not the same games. My thoughts on that is that it would require a lot more jobs and work to make an in-game system for holding and trading and selling those items. This way, they don't got to hire anyone to do that. Paradox, you made a fatal error. You assume that I'm coming up with something that could be traded and sold. I'm not. It didn't work for the Diablo 3 auction house. The CSGO trading is a disaster. Really wealthy guys go in and buy everything up, creating scarcity and then selling them later. It's been completely cannibalized by third-party sources, not the people that care about the game. So, no! Just make money on cool cosmetics! Do you want to make money? Yeah. Here you go. But we want to make more money. You're going to get too close to the sun, homie. You're going to melt those wings. You do this, you're going to drive people away. You're going to drive purchases away. Do you want to make money? Yeah. Well, just do this. Just sell skins, sell cosmetics. Use the technology without doing this, like, trading, selling nonsense. Like, it's fraught. It's so fraught with problems. If Blizzard can't listen, who the frick do you think you are? If Blizzard can't figure it out, you think you're going to? Blizzard couldn't sort it out in Diablo. They're like, just get it out. Get it out. People's accounts are getting hacked. Bots are here. They're all trying to make money. They're like, if Blizzard was like, yeah, we're done. We're throwing in the towel. How do you think you're going to do? You know, as someone who has done a ton of research into blockchain tech, there are currently no advantageous uses for consumers. The tech can be very useful for banks and security firms, but that's pointless for the end user. People are putting the cart before the horse. The tech is not for consumers yet. And Paul says, for me, it's just for transfer of ownership. Right, but that's for your founder thing, right? Paul, in what world are you going to buy a bunch of skins and hope you can transfer the ownership? Building the game this early, the blockchain does give them an easy way to store the account and items. I have said nothing about blockchain. I've been talking about NFTs. You can do plenty with blockchain for account security, preventing, accounts from getting hacked. Maybe even blockchain could start to one day help with anti-cheat. I don't know. That's literally me just speculating. Blockchain technologies, evolutions and iterations and permutations could turn into anti-cheat prevention. You know what I'm saying? Like, to cheat prevention. That, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not talking about blockchain. I'm talking about NFTs. Like, we don't need NFTs in games right now. No one has substantiated their reason for being here. I've literally, no joke, made my character a certain way or bought skins in Fortnite that were cool and stopped using them as soon as I saw someone else wearing it. Exactly. Like, Like, I've done that in, like, I know this is a completely unrelated game to a certain degree. I've done that in Fall Guys. I'll have on a cool combination of pieces that I think looks really dope, and then I'll see somebody else with the same combination, and I switch it the very next game. I'm like, I don't know. I want to come up with, as best I can, I want to come up with, like, my own creative thing. I want to come up with my own creative thing. I don't want to look like other people. And I think the technology they're coming up with to randomly generate cosmetics so that they can be sold as an NFT, I think you're using the wrong thing. I think you're so close to a good idea, and yet it's like falling right underneath. And I feel like what would inevitably happen is people are going to look at it and say, oh, it's NFTs, and they're not going to spend money. I will tell you something right now. The general public has an aversion to NFTs. Anytime I've covered it, anytime it's in the title, anytime it's on the thumbnail, our videos do terribly. Do you want to know why? People don't understand it. And when people don't understand something, they don't want to engage with it because it makes them feel stupid. I am not being condescending. I'm not being rude. That's the facts. People are like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. And so they don't click because they don't want to watch some video that makes them feel stupid. So they're like, I'm not watching that. Our NFT videos never go anywhere because people are like, I don't want to hear anything about that. It sounds like some pyramid thing. Blockchain's like a checksum for ownership. Essentially, yes. I'm actively talking to the founders and trying to get a dev to come up with an official statement for why NFTs over in-game system for items only. I told them that's the biggest criticism right now. I'm not a founder, but I would absolutely love to be a part of anything they're doing because I love Doc, and I've always wanted to work with him, and I'm looking at this project and I'm thinking, you guys could do this. You could pull this off, but I'm telling you what, this NFT is the touch of death. It's the touch of death right now. So many companies have been like, hey guys, we're going to do NFTs. And everyone's like, shut your mouth. And they're like, okay, sorry. You can jump in the Midnight Society Discord. Midnight Society. There's public channels where you can interact with everyone. I am so incredibly busy. It would have to be like I'm just not in a position to like go in there and like dedicate time. Like we'd have to schedule a call or something. It looks like garbage. Just another Half-Life-esque game. I bet you $10. This is brand new. Brand new. Nope, it's not. Okay, it's not. He's talking like that guy from earlier. I was like, oh boy, here we go. This could be your chance. I know you've been wanting to work with the Doc for a while. He's my white whale. Yeah, working with the Doc is my white whale. I have show ideas that only work with him, but he doesn't have any interest, to deal with me. I'm small fry. They got to rebrand the NFTs, call them single-use cosmetics or bespoke cosmetics or something. The shooting animations don't look great in the game. You have to remember it's pre-alpha. If you go look at game footage of other games that are pre-alpha, it's in the range of what you would expect to see. The moment I heard the game had something to do with NFTs, I lost interest. I haven't even watched the gameplay. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. NFTs just feel like touch of death. So in the Chronicles of Narnia, in one of my favorite books, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, they get to this island. And the magic of the island is already messing with them before they even land. Everybody's being snippy and argumentative, and they can't figure out what's going on. And they see this water, and they're very hot, and they're thinking of having a drink and a dip. They're like, well, let's have a little swim and have a little drink here, right? Well, let's get in this water. And someone realizes that something's off with the water. And the water turns everything to gold. They dip like something in the water and it gets immediately very heavy and they pull it out. Well, the prince and one of the former kings, well, once a king of Narnia, always a king of Narnia, they start arguing. Right? They start arguing because they think this water would be a source of immeasurable wealth. You can turn anything to gold. You could take a blade of grass, you could take a pile of grass and turn it into a currency, right? Immeasurable wealth. They start arguing because the curse of the water, the allure of the water, they start going at each other. Because it seems amazing. It'll turn anything to gold. But they name the place Deathwater, and they warn people to never go back. One of the people they're looking for is in the water. He jumped in for a swim, and it turned him to gold. And he sunk to the bottom and died. And that's what I feel like NFTs are. NFTs are Deathwater. It seems to be shimmery and shiny and a source of great wealth, but the minute you touch it, you die. Like, all these companies have been like, we're going to launch NFTs. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And what's NFTs do? Sinks. It's a real shiny, pretty thing that just sinks to the bottom. That's my analogy of what I think NFTs are. They're Deathwater from the Chronicles of Narnia. I'm making it my mission to get an official explanation for why NFTs. Right now I'm getting to transfer to future games, like how Warzone skins won't go to Warzone 2, but that's not a good answer for me. Yeah, you don't need NFTs to do that. You just need an account. You just need to be able to sync your account. Like, what? You just need to sync your account. I don't need NFTs for you to be like, hey, it's user number 12289 and user number 12289 owned all these skins. Like, what are you talking about? That's exactly what I said. Yeah, like, my achievements came with me when I went from an Xbox 360 to an Xbox One, and they're still with me on my Xbox Series X. I didn't need no freaking NFTs for that. That was from a support person who's just a founder and not a dev. You recommended those books to me and my kids. Love the first 3. Which order did you read them in, BMAC? There's different orders you can read them in. I love them. I liked starting with The Magician's Nephew, but some people read them in the other order, which is fine. But I prefer to start with Magician's Nephew. You could also make the comparison to the Aztec gold and the Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, like once they touch it, they're cursed. NFT is only so the original content creator gets a cut every time it's sold. Telorn, you're forgetting something as well. Oh, you started with The Magician's Nephew. You did it in the right order then. You're a good man. My Korean friends are reading the books at my recommendation as well, and they did it in the other order, and I always give him grief about it. Like, when you start The Magician's Nephew, you find out where the wardrobe came from in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Like, you find out where the wardrobe came from, and it's so much cooler. Anyways. Oh, I told you to. The other thing with NFTs, Telorn, it's not just the original creator. It's... so this gets hard to explain, but I've tried to explain it this way. So companies that get into NFTs will almost out of necessity make those NFTs scarce. Why? Because that drives up value or perceived value, which drives up prices and trade value. And if they get a percentage on every trade, it's not just the original content creator, it's them. They get profit in perpetuity on that thing being traded, which means they have a monetary incentivization to make it scarce and rare. And if you do that, the trading hawks will come. They'll say, buy up all the skins and all the NFTs. There's only X number of thousand every batch, and we'll hold them. And we hold them. We have now created a supply line disruption to drive up value and to drive up demand. And then we'll sell them to all these dum-dums that couldn't get them fast enough. And then that's the end of it. The people are going to buy them, and then they can't keep going up in value every time. Yeah, Eugene posted that, Paul. Like, let's say I buy into this idea, and I buy some NFT from a guy who bought it and held it for a couple of months, and its value just keeps going up. And then I buy it at this value. Let's just say it's now worth $1,000. I'm just going to throw out a nice easy number. It's now worth $1,000. So I buy it for $1,000. What will keep its value going up? What will keep its value going up? What? I don't know the answer. I'm genuinely asking. Because at that point that I've bought it, demand could have dropped. Because everybody waiting on the purchase is like, oh, somebody else bought it. I would never buy an NFT to make money or a skin in a game. But Paul, don't you think that's one of the primary allures and appeals is that I can make money? It's a market. It's not just about ownership or transfer of ownership. To a lot of people, it's a way to make money. Do you think when the auction house came to Diablo, people were like, what a great way to buy and trade my inventory. I really like this game. No, they were like, I'm going to make a ton of money. You're telling someone else that it's valuable and they're buying it for the higher price. Okay, but what if it's a speculative market? That's right. So what if the perceived value evaporates? People are like, yeah, we don't care about those NFTs. The new batch came out. Now you see the problem. You are in a battle for attention and relevancy against the developer. Because every time they throw a new batch out, that new batch has the potential to be more interesting than the batch that you're holding. Now, maybe with time you could argue, oh boy, a year later, if you have some of the year one NFTs, they're going to be worth more. Maybe. Maybe they don't look as cool. Maybe the new ones have added cooler things or shinier dingalings or brighter lights. Maybe interest in the game has gone down a little bit. And subsequently, every NFT goes down with it. So they're classics, but they're classics attached to a dying or declining game. Your item's value is intrinsically linked to the life of the game. That sounds terrible. Just got Reforge Dark Roast in. Fine coffee, my friend. Oh, thank you, Weed Man. If you guys have never tried our coffee, it's in our home. So when you buy this, you're supporting a small business. This is not some sponsor. Reforge Roast, a light roast and a dark roast. We just launched merch today. If you want to get a Team Light or Team Dark mug or a t-shirt, it's all available, reforgeroast.com. If you're a coffee drinker and you've never tried coffee with balanced acidity, you need to try our coffee. Very smooth, no bitterness. We even have an about page on there if you want to know how we get the balanced acidity. We have the flavor profiles and everything that you might want to know there if you're a coffee snob. If you're not a coffee snob, you really should try it as well because balanced acidity coffee is the smoothest coffee you can drink. Look, I think NFTs are the dumbest thing on the planet. As soon as the game is no longer supported, they're no longer valuable. Okay, so the game will have off-chain version that has no NFT stuff per Forbes. Okay. Yeah, I've said many times, as long as it stays out of the game, I don't really care that much. You know? I just saw a clip for Gotham Knights, and man, it reads like a book for VA. We were going to take a look at it tomorrow. I can see NFT going up based on the streamer, and then they could turn around and sell it all. Right, and Brandon, that's pump and dump, is it not? Because think about it. Let's say I did that. I'm not even that big, but let's say I did that. I could probably do that and make some money. I could. What are you going to do once you have it? Right? You're Brandon, or you're B-Man 5000, whatever username you've chosen. What's the What's the value attached to now? Exactly. Right. No, you're making a great point that I don't think people are thinking about. Isn't it peculiar that everybody who's pushing this, they're essentially selling it on their popularity, not on the value of NFTs? Like when I sell you coffee, it shows up to your house. If this was sawdust, I'd be sued. I'd probably have a letter from the FDA, right? Like when I sell this to you, and you buy more, it's because you're getting something. I don't have to convince you that it's good coffee. Like initially I might. Hey, it's good coffee, balanced acidity. You got to give it a try. If you're a coffee drinker, you owe it to yourself to try it one time. It shows up, you make it, and then that's the end. But if I was holding up this and saying, guys, you have no idea how good this is. This is a paper towel that I wiped my mouth with today. Now, maybe if I was a really pretty girl and was selling bathwater, I might make some money. But if I was trying to convince you that this was really, really valuable, it's only valuable when it's attached to me and my very thin popularity. I'm not a very big YouTuber. So its value, as soon as it shows up and you open up the bag and you're like, oh, I got it. And somebody's like, what? And you're like, it's a paper towel that Lono wiped his mouth with. Who the frick is Lono? Oh, he's got a YouTube channel, Reforge Gaming. Dude, I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell this for so much money. And they're like, why would anybody buy that? It's not, there's nothing on it anymore. You don't have any certificate of like why it's good or what's valuable. It's just literally a napkin. Like the minute the NFT is not attached to the celebrity pushing it, it has no value. It's automatically pump and dump. It is intrinsically pump and dump. Even if they don't pump up the value and the worth and then just sell them all, the ones you're buying, their perceived value is immediately lower once you own it. It's like buying a brand new car. You drive it off the lot, it goes down in value. Now, there's been some economic shifts that doesn't make that as extreme as it used to be, but it's the same idea. The only thing that breaks your argument here is the test t-shirt. Yeah, but you get a shirt you can wear. Even the test t-shirt. This is why when Kevin Hart started doing NFTs, I was so disappointed in him. I'm like, Kevin, people are literally spending all this money thinking that they're buying something that's worth a ton of money, and it's only, that value is only, it's only attached to you. And the minute they're holding it, it's going to turn to ash in their hand. There's nothing there. It's like in that, it was in the one Indiana Jones where they go into the one place and it's so old that when they touch the mummified stuff, it just immediately like disintegrates and falls apart. It's like holding a sandcastle in your hand. Isn't this awesome? And then the wind blows and it just goes down through your fingers and you're like, it looked really good a second ago. When are you releasing an NFT shirt? That t-shirt's an investment, bro. Hey, bro, but this stick, there's no other sticks like this stick in the universe. $400, that's right. All the cool drawings and notes your kids draw for the coffee, make those into NFTs. Yeah, sure. Yeah, my kids are great artists. I'll just turn them all into NFTs. What's it say? I love buying overpriced. I'd love buying overpriced JPEGs. I've debated this time and time again with crypto bros and with pro NFT folks, and I've never once been pointed in the direction of like, I've never been pointed in the direction of like, oh yeah, this is the impetus. This is the reason. This is why you should do it. This is why it's worth investing in. I got a 1 of 1 Frick You Abe NFT. Who wants to buy it? Bidding starts at 50. That's pretty good. Frick You Abe. Let's start the bidding on Shut Up Fat. The person doing something interesting with NFT is Damien Hirst. He made a set number of original art and the NFT of each one, and you had to buy both. I think this is one of the best logical calm arguments I've ever heard against NFTs. Thank you, Lono. I'm taking notes. Oh, thank you. Sell me this pen. Yeah. He gave each customer the choice to destroy the NFT or the art. It was fun for rich people. Well, like, Andrew Schwab is doing something in this space with the latest Project 86 album, but he's literally giving them the song. They're writing a song specifically for some of like the biggest backers, and it's like an NFT song, right? Like they're giving it to them, like, here you go, it's yours. You do with it what you want. We made and recorded a song just for you, and obviously that person can do whatever the frick they want with it. They could distribute it. They could do whatever they want. It's theirs, right? How cool is that? You're like, I'm not giving this to anybody. I'm going to keep this locked up on a drive. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to play it for my friends. No one's ever getting this song. It's theirs. They can do whatever they want with it. Like, that's cool. Like, that's a cool thing. And again, it's completely on their own. They're not doing it with the hope of selling it one day. They're not doing it with the hope of selling it on some Project 86 trading market. It's like, no, I love you guys. I love your music. I'm going to give you as much money as I possibly can, and I'm going to get my own song out of it. New NFT drops. I screenshotted the Frick You Abe NFT selling the screenshots for a fraction of the price. Why do you need an NFT to do something like that, though? Well, he's not doing it as an NFT. He got inspired and was like, we could do this in a way that actually gives somebody something of substance and value, rather than being like, here's a digital picture that somebody could steal and maybe you can sell it someday. He was like, no, we're going to literally make, write, and produce a song just for you and send it to you. It's yours. So he took the idea and like got inspired. That would be kind of like me having my kids draw really, really cool artwork and then having you guys, like, we would send it to, like, the biggest backers or the highest tier members. Like, what if I said tier 5 members get an autographed picture every month from my daughter? You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's something that only you would get at that tier level. You're getting, but I'm not creating some idea of like, oh, this is going to have value and you can sell it and get more value from it later. Thanks, Abe. Frick you. Yeah, Abe. Yeah, steal my NFT. Yeah, I sent that to Abe with his coffee order. It's literally a cartoon middle finger, and it says, "Thank you." It says, "Thanks, Abe. Frick you." For about 6 months of dev time, what have they shown is pretty impressive. I was saying that, Jake. I thought if you go back to like early alpha concepts of games, this actually looks really good. Like early pre-alpha footage of games usually looks really, really rough, and the Deaddrop gameplay is actually looking pretty good. Right? It's obviously they're not wowing anybody right now. I don't think that's their intention. I don't think their intention is to wow anybody. I think they're saying, listen, we've got a game. We're working on it. It's real. And we're already doing some pretty good looking stuff. We got lighting and rain, and we got fog and steam and environmental effects for a pre-alpha. Most pre-alphas don't do that. Most pre-alphas look stripped down and bare and gross. I think that's something that people are forgetting. Is they're like, oh, I don't know, man, it looks pretty boring. And it's like, yeah, well, go find any of the leaked pre-alpha footage of the other games. Like, go look at like Destiny's pre-alpha, or, you know, any shooter's pre-alpha. There's no textures, there's no lighting, there's nothing. They're just like in some big open room shooting at blocks. Question: would you guys like to see sliding in the game? Some have had ideas for like one movement perk per person, so you could pick sliding, grapple hook, or other movement abilities as your perk. It depends on the identity that they're going for, Paradox, because that can turn into... There's always the risk of the rock, paper, scissors element. If you're expecting them to slide and they grapple, or they're expecting a grapple and they slide, I think that can be problematic because you feel as if everybody doesn't have the same standard move set, it can be very frustrating. I think of when Fortnite was giving, like, there was jetpacks you could find. It created movement verticality that flips everything in a moment. And you're like, well, I didn't have a jetpack. What the frick? And then you feel like you lose to the equipment rather than to the player. I think you got to be really careful with that. I think you have to be very, very careful with that, because the minute somebody feels like the moveset's too random, or they're losing to a particular moveset or piece of equipment rather than the player, that's gonna break player, not satisfaction, but I would say acceptance. When I play a game and I get just outplayed by the other player, I'm like, dang, this guy's really, really good. When I lose to a piece of equipment, I'm like the mechs, when people like raged about the mechs in Fortnite. Because it was very clear you weren't losing to a skilled player, you were losing to an overpowered mechanic. So I would phrase it this way. Any perks or abilities that can be obtained throughout the map need to be in a category of enhancing gameplay as opposed to being an entity in and of itself. A jetpack and a mech are they're a gameplay entity in and of themselves. They're not just like enhancing your gameplay. So if used well, you're like, holy frick, that guy pulled off a great move with that grapple hook, or oh my gosh, that guy did that slide around the corner, and he's an artist with the shotgun. It needs to feel like that's a good player who happens to have a grapple. That's a good player who happens to have a slide. Instead of, frick that fricking thing, dude, it's so overpowered, or it's way too strong, it's way too influential in the flow of combat. It's the verticality's too instantaneous. You know what I'm saying? That's how I would phrase it. I would couch it in that way. It must enhance existing gameplay that's more firmly rooted in skill, as opposed to becoming a gameplay entity in and of itself that disrupts the game. And then you feel like, I need that. That turns into, a meta. Then all of a sudden you just create a meta. Gotta get grapple. Yep, gotta get grapple. That creates inorganic hotbeds on the map, because then everybody's going for the grapple instead of just playing to play and using strategy and intelligence. Everyone's going for grapple, because grapple's how you win. Does that make sense? You take the seesaw of the map, hot map, and boom, you just flip it, and everybody goes to this spot. And then that's not fun, because now instead of having like that sense of progress, intensity, and fight, it's just a freaking bloodbath at one spot, and winner takes all. Whoever wins that spot, whoever gets that last kill, grabs grapple, and they're good for second half. They're gonna own. I never say that desync, lag, weapon, ping, connection, meta, third-party audio, FPS, sandbox balance, peer-to-peer, anything other than my skill is the problem. That's right. Meta's in everything. There will always be a meta, Butters. But you want the meta to be broad enough to allow a variety of approaches to map and combat to work. If the meta becomes too narrow, then everybody's just boom. Everybody gets tunnel vision and just goes for that thing. Yeah, it's always about input drops. Yeah. Like, it's the difference of when I'm playing a Souls game and I'm like, I got greedy. I can take that. I can adjust and I accept that. But if I feel like I lost to like a stun lock or spam or, you know, the game hitched or there was a frame drop or an input drop, oh my gosh, my blood boils instantly. Because that's not my fault. That wasn't me. That was your game, right? So I don't know. I think you got to be careful with that. I think mechanics and abilities can go real lopsided on you real quick. And there's a dilemma there too, because if you make sliding or the grapple hook too weak and they're not influential at all, then what's the point of it? No one uses it. It has to be influential enough that if you get it, you want to use it. If it's nearby, you want to go for it. But it can't be so influential that it's literally a must-have. Like, that's a delicate balance. That's a tightrope. You got two ditches you don't want to fall into. Too weak that no one gives a frick. Why'd they even waste time developing this? Or it's too strong. It's a must-have, and it slants the meta, and everyone goes and grabs it. Or tries to go and grab it. So, that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on that. It's great that we have somebody from the Discord chilling. It is. It's great. Hopefully they can develop a great game. Hopefully one day I'll get to give a firm handshake to the man himself. Because I think he knows what he's doing. I do. I think he knows what he's doing in the content creator space. I think he knows what he's doing from the perspective of game design. I do. OG double pump. Oh gosh. Double pump was so gross. I'll never forget the day I wiped a squad with it, and I was like, I felt dirty. I was like, this is wrong. I was like, this shouldn't be in the game. This should not be in the game. Guy's a smart guy. I believe he knows what he's still doing. Doc something else. Yeah. I tell you what we should do, guys. Let's celebrate the first day of the month. If there's anybody who is holding out or waiting for August to gift some members, now is a great time to gift members, because we're about to go to a members only stream, and then they get to come with us. They get a taste of the behind the scenes conversations, the sort of off the cuff, uncensored Lono. We still talk gaming. We still talk about all the different things that we love to do here. But we do know at this point in the stream, a lot of the gray names are very loyal, but they are either not in a spot where they can do a membership, or they're just not able to. And those gifted members, I think, go a long way right before we go over to a members only stream. So we're getting ready to shift gears right now. I'll give you guys a minute or two if anybody was holding out. I know some people were waiting for August to do that. We'd love to see 1,500 members. I think we may have hit 1,400 members today. If we hit 1,500, one of the streams that I do with my wife on a Friday night, every Friday night I stream. Yeah, we hit 1,400. So we are now within 100 members of my wife having to go back into Elden Ring. So consider becoming a member. It's $5 a month. We do members-only content every day. That's how we end our day. We do a couple of talk shows, and then we end the day with members. We also do streams on Friday nights. This Friday night, my brother's going to be in town. That's why I'll be gone next week. I need to set up a Nightbot timer to remind people that I will be out of town. Let's just do the... I'm just going to edit the coffee one. Lono will be out of town next week, August. What is it? It's August 8th through the 12th. Wait, did I do that? That can't be right. Yeah, 8th through the 12th. 8th through the 12th. Normal streams resume on August the 15th. Okay. I'm going to set that as a timer to remind people. So don't forget, if you're a member, you really want to make sure you're in the Discord. You really want to make sure that you really want to make sure you're in there, so that way you don't miss out on all the things that we're doing. It's really easy to miss out on the things that we're doing, mainly because YouTube does not alert you when we do members only content. I try to alert you. I do a members only post. I ping the Discord. I ping Twitter. I try to make it pretty obvious when I'm doing members only content, which I'm getting ready to do right now. And we will do a redirect. So if you're a member, you should come over into the new stream. If you're not a member, it'll give you the option to join. You can click the join button. $5 a month will get you into all that content. Or, maybe just keep hanging out. People gift memberships all of the time. And we really, really appreciate everybody being here today and supporting everything that we're doing. 2 very different streams, but we had a solid turnout both times. I'm going to put a link to it in there. I'm going to do the community. I think I already did the community. Oh, no, I didn't. All right, I'm going to post to members. It's get in here for Monday members only post. That should ping members. That should ping them and let them know what's going on. I will also ping the Discord announcement room. Oh, we didn't ping the Discord for the doc stream. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I'm reading and it seems like you can buy skins and whatnot without claiming the NFTs ever, so no big deal if you don't want to use them. Yeah, the danger is, Paradox, all the people that are going to want to use them as NFTs, what will that do to the market? It's great that we can opt out, but are all the people opting in going to affect the market? Hey, if you clicked on this, that means you're a member and you're watching the VOD. You might be watching the very, very end of the Dr. Disrespect stream where we were doing a live redirect. If you're in that live stream, I'm going to do a redirect and bring you with me. If you want to become a member, there's a blue join button. You can click that and for $5 a month get into all the extra content. Or maybe just stick around every day as a lurker and a chatter. The more loyal you are, the more likely you'll get a membership when there's gifted members. We do this to end every day. It's a great way to have a final chill day and just kind of unwind and take a breather just for members only. I'm going to end the previous stream and it should redirect everybody over who is in fact a member. All right, and then I'm going to edit that thumbnail.